What social media platforms do you use most and why?
Ooh, at the moment, probably Instagram. So Instagram Reels are incredibly addictive, and it is very easy to get sucked into watching those for hours and hours, and that's sort of what keeps me on there quite a lot. And yeah, it's a bit sad really, but that's where a lot of my time goes.
How much time do you spend on social media each day?
Each day, well, it depends. Like if I'm busy from like morning till night, probably nothing, like half an hour. But if I have some free time, I want to say 4 to 5 hours. It's far too much.
Can you give me an example of a negative impact of using social media?
A negative impact of using social media. I feel like that's sort of, yeah, it is rotting kids' brains, and you don't really know what they're on about a lot of the time now. But yeah, that's not great. And I feel like another like negative impact is like you don't really know what's real and what's not, like with people editing stuff. And misinformation is a big thing, especially for like political stuff. You find people just like spreading misinformation to like slander another party or
Last question. What age did you start using social media?
I think I started using social media around 11 or 12. Started with Instagram and then Snapchat and then like Facebook and then Reddit, and then just they all got downloaded one after the other over the years. And yeah, I think it spiraled from there. But yeah, it's I feel like people probably shouldn't use it as young as that. It's no good for anyone.
What social media platforms do you use most and why?
Um, I mean, it's changed over the years. So back when I was like a teenager, maybe 13, 14, I started using Facebook, and then that graduated onto like Instagram, Snapchat, and then now I only really use Instagram and WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is my main source of communication.
How much time do you spend on social media each day?
Not much. Even the social media I do use, like Instagram, I don't spend much time on it each day now. I would say, if you count WhatsApp and maybe Reddit as well, maybe about overall with like minutes added up, I would say probably about maybe 3-4 hours each day. Or if you add all of the minutes up that I use throughout the day, then yeah, about 3-4 hours.
Can you give me an example of a negative impact of using social media?
I think that mental health is probably the biggest and most important one, because young people especially are comparing themselves to profiles and accounts and even pictures that don't represent reality and what's a realistic goal. So that causes like stress and various body disorders, eating disorders. Like it really affects how especially teenagers view themselves. Yeah, I would say mental health, and it causes various like suicide because of like bullying and cyberbullying and different things like that. So yeah, I would say mental health, and that's caused. I would say the use of social media has caused a spike in mental health to go up, and also the state of people's mental health to go down.
Okay, last question. What age did you start using social media?
I would say I was about. Well, I would say it goes before I even used Facebook, so probably like MSN Messenger, back when that was the big thing. That was probably around 2008, 9, 10. So I would have been around probably 11, 12 when I started using that platform, maybe even 10. 10, 11, 12, I would start using MSA, and then once I got into my teenage year, like 13, 14, I graduated onto the bigger, more popular platforms.
What social media platforms do you use most and why?
I would say I probably use Snapchat and TikTok quite a lot, just because with Snapchat it allows me to talk to all my friends and allows me to hold relationships over the phone that way. With TikTok, it just it's sort of like a bit of an escape from reality, I suppose. You sort of get a chance to go on and watch videos of anything really, and it sort of just gives you a chance to relax for a bit, especially after work or after school.
Okay. How much time do you spend on social media each day?
I say I probably spend about 5 or 6 hours combined over the whole day. Just sort of depends what I'm up to that day and how busy I am. So it could range from 3 hours to even 8 hours. Sort of just depends.
Okay. Can you give me an example of a negative impact of using social media?
A negative impact of using social media could be that you. A negative impact of using social media could be that you spend too much time looking at your phone and you forget to, actually speak to people in real life, and you sort of just are not really used to that. I know a lot of people would tend to probably feel a bit more confident over a phone as opposed to, speaking to someone in person, which I suppose is probably a lot easier for some people, but has a negative effect on yourself.
Okay, last one. What age did you start using social media?
I started using social media whenever I was probably about 10 years old. Just really whenever I got my first phone, it allowed me to use social media, as I didn't really have any limits back then, and I've used it ever since now.
What social media platforms do you use most and why?
Most would probably be Snapchat. That would be mainly for just like texting friends and all that stuff. And probably second would be Instagram. It'd be the same thing as well. You're sending like memes to a mate or direct messages and stuff. And then it'd probably be like TikTok and YouTube after that. For like watching videos and brain rot and stuff like that.
Yeah. How much time do you spend on social media each day?
Probably a lot more than I want to be doing, so probably per day I'd say maybe like 5 hours, 5 or 6 hours, which is alright in comparison to other people, because I know I've seen other people online have used their phone for like 12, 13, 14 hours a day, like every day, and I'm like, that's half your day just sitting on your phone. Like, what else do you do with your day? So probably maybe about 5 hours on average usually.
Can you give me an example of a negative impact of using social media?
The negative impact is, like, for me especially, I would say, is it hinders like my work, and I'd say social life at times as well, because sometimes I'd be too comfortable just sitting on my phone rather than going out or going for a walk even. And what was the question again, sorry? Oh, how does it impact, like negative impact? That, and I would also say, like, when I have a phone, I think it's too easy. Oh my god, I'm getting like, when I use my phone, it's too easy to oh my god, I'm fucking you can just cut this out, can't you? Yeah. No, I was gonna say something there, but what was it? Oh, it's so annoying.
The first bit was good anyway, you can just cut it.
Yeah, you can just use that part.
Okay, and then last one is just what age did you start using social media?
Social media? Like, do you mean like Snapchat and like Instagram and all?
Yeah, just anything.
Probably, I'd say about 11 years old. 11 or 12 is when I probably started using like Snapchat and Instagram, getting an Instagram account. So it was probably like P6 or P7 when I started using all that, so yeah.